Very good. Good evening. My name is Paul Farrow. I am the chair of the governance committee. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Victoria and Esquimalt Police Board meeting for September the 19th, 2023. Before I move on, I'd like to first recognize that we're meeting here today at the Victoria Police Department headquarters that's located on the traditional territories of the Lekwungen peoples, today known as the Esquimalt and Songhees Nations. We extend our appreciation for the opportunity to live, learn, and work on this territory. The two mayors, Mayor Alto and Mayor Desjardins, are attending the Union of British Columbia Municipalities meeting, the UBCM in Vancouver. One of them would normally chair this meeting. We do not have an automatic procedure for chairing in this capacity. So I'm going to entertain a motion to see if there is a motion to appoint myself as chair of the governance committee to conduct today's meeting. Is a board member prepared to move that motion? Moved by Holly, thank you. Second by Charlotte. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I will then entertain all those in favor, please signify. Down, opposed, carried. I will do my best as an interim chair to make sure that all voices are heard and we conduct this meeting as efficient as possible. The agenda is for the public viewing, and of course is online, and you're seeing you can follow along on the agenda as presented. Declarations of conflict of interest. That's standing item B. Are there any, if there's any members here that has a conflict, please obviously let us know and recuse yourself when needed, if needed. Don't see anybody. No, there's been nothing has been brought to our attention. So I will then move on to item C, which is an adoption of the agenda. I would certainly entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. Board members, thank you, Tim. Is there a seconder? Thank you, Michaela. Any additions or deletions? Sometimes we ask for those. They don't come too often. Don't see any. I will then call the question. All those in favor, please show. Down, opposed, carried. Wonderful, thank you. Adoption of the public meeting minutes. Public minutes of July 18th. Is there a motion to adopt? Board member? Thank you, Michaela. Seconded by Tim. Thank you. Are there any errors or omissions that need to be noted? Minutes look good to me, so I will then entertain. We'll take a vote on approving these minutes. All those in favor of the public meetings of July 18th, please signify. Down, opposed, carried. Wonderful. We're ripping along here. Great pace. Board co-chairs. Well, it's as I've mentioned, they are both attending the Union of British Columbia Municipalities. This is an annual convention that happens across various spots of British Columbia. It's a meeting of all the mayors and councillors and the provincial government, where numbers of issues are discussed. Certainly for the public viewing, there is issues pertaining to crime and homelessness, certainly, and other issues pertaining to our business here today. So certainly we're looking forward to hearing the outcomes of their deliberations. Committee updates, again, for the public, we have three committees here at the Victoria and Esquimalt Police Board, a Human Resource Committee, a Finance Committee, and a Governance Committee. Those committees meet approximately 1 or 2 times a month, depending upon the issues. But there is a summary that is actually in part of the agenda package. But I'm just wondering if any of the chairs of those three committees want to highlight anything on that at the meeting here now. Don't think there's anything. I will say, as the chair of the governance committee, one thing that the public may be interested in. The board has had some discussions about the creation of a vice chair position. As you can see today, with the two mayors not being here, it sparks this internal process where we have to do a motion. Most boards in police boards in British Columbia have a vice chair position, but due to the uniqueness of the Victoria and Esquimalt framework agreement, the vice chair position currently does not exist. The governance committee over the days ahead will be reviewing that topic, and I think it would be probably good to say that there probably will be some type of vice chair position, a recommendation coming forward for the board to discuss in the days ahead. Okay, I don't see any other the chairs. The finance committee chair, Elizabeth Cull, is not here tonight, and I don't think there's anything on that.
I just wonder if we need to call this motion related to the speech. So I can speak to that if you'd like.
Okay, then go ahead.
I'm Michaela, and I will be stepping in for Elizabeth Cull, who's away tonight. And we just did a little bit of a review of what is necessary for the board to be able to adequately fund sending members of the board to conferences and participate in educational opportunities. And so what we came up with was increasing the travel budget to $25,000 and increasing the operational meeting budget to $9,000. And the operational meeting budget is just around having a budget so that should we move to hosting some town hall style meetings and working to develop better community engagement initiatives, that we would have a budget in place to rent some different facilities and host meetings at places outside of VicPD. We don't currently have any specific plans to do that, but we wanted to ensure that there was room in the budget available for that. Related to the travel and conference budget, it hasn't been updated in a long time to make room for the increased cost of travel, the full complement of, well, not quite, almost full board that we have compared with the smaller board that we've had in the past. And there's a lot of interest in attending conferences and participating in educational opportunities. So that's where we're at.
So on that note, are you prepared to move the motion as
move the motion
as presented? Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second or first off from a board member? Thank you, Holly, for seconding the motion. Any discussion from the board regarding this motion? I think it seems pretty self-explanatory. Certainly, there's the intent is to have more flexibility to do more consultation, and that's always a good thing. So certainly, from my viewpoint, I think it makes sense. But I don't see any other hands, so the motion is clear. So I'm going to call the vote then. All those in favor of the motion that was presented, please signify. Down, opposed, carries. Fantastic. Appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, we can move on then. That would be board member engagement. So board member engagement. This is an area just where board members are out and about, attending different events in their capacity as a member of the board. Just wondering if there's any board members wants to highlight anything you may not have had the opportunity to, but if there's something you want to highlight, this would be now the time to do so. Okay, Charlotte, pardon me.
Yeah, I recently attended a presentation by the Honorable Jody Wilson-Raybould. And during that presentation, I spoke to her and the audience about being an Indigenous board member and serving on boards, including being past president of the BCAPB, and thanking her for her courage as an Indigenous leader to share her experiences and challenges so people like myself can use her wisdom and strength in the work that we do.
Great, appreciate that. Any other board members? Michaela, go ahead.
I had the opportunity to attend the swearing in of new constables and with a number of board members. It's the first one I've been to, and I really enjoyed it. I expressed this to Chief Manick, but I was just so impressed with the bios that were getting read, and they just kept going and going and going of all of the interesting education and community involvement and past employment that the new members have. So I was just extremely impressed, and I think that HR is just a really fantastic job of finding those recruits.
Okay, anything further? Go ahead, Tim, go ahead, please.
Yes, I was also at the, that's very good, and it was truly impressive to hear the values and also the reasons why officers were coming to Big PD and background they bring was fascinating. And I hope we can be able to attract that level of talent to be on the ranks. And then I did a ride along. It was on September 8th, so Beer Fest was going on and all kinds of things. So I was expecting quite the eventful evening, but it was just a wonderful opportunity to see officers in action and people enjoying themselves in our downtown streets. So I just thank you very much for that opportunity. I learned a lot about some of the operational challenges, and makes what interesting time we'll have around this table.
Perfect. I don't see any other hands. I'll just mention that I had the pleasure of attending the Township of Esquimalt committee meeting, council meeting on August the 23rd, where there was a presentation from Big PD regarding the second quarter report. So that was a nice to be able to attend that session, as well as the swearing in session. I was one of the other board members there. Again, I echo my colleagues. It was refreshing to see the quality of people wanting to come in and be part of the Victoria Police Department. I was so impressed with the men and women who have decided to start a career here, and I want to thank them for the work all the work that they're going to do on the days and months and years ahead. And finally, I had in my new role as chair of the governance committee just last week, I had an introductory casual meeting with the CEO, the Chief Administrative Officer for the Township of Esquimalt, Mr. Dan Horan. He's relatively new in his role, and we just had a cup of coffee to just exchange contact information and to establish a good working relationship. And it was a pleasure to meet him just last week. So I want to thank the board for doing that. And of course, there's fall is coming up, so there's going to be lots of activities. I'm sure that we're going to be attending in our capacity. Okay, I'm going to move right on here. That leaves the BC Association of Police Boards Executive Update, and Michaela is going to lead this off for us. Go ahead, Michaela.
Yeah, thank you. There's not much to update right now. We have an upcoming meeting on September 29th. And the BCAPB has scheduled their conference for April 11th and 12th in Vancouver. But I have also heard that date might need to be adjusted to be able to accommodate some of the mayors, and I'm not sure who else. Did you mention Colette that might not be able to come to that?
Yeah, the municipal mayors will be at a conference.
Yeah, so I will update if that date changes.
Okay, thank you for that. Any questions and comments to Michaela? I see that we are going to be we're doing very well here on tonight's meeting. That leaves the chief constable update. What are the deputy chiefs who want to go ahead?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So very briefly, I don't have too much. Chief Maddox duties took him out of town this evening, so I know he's looking forward to providing more robust update from his perspective at the next meeting, but I have nothing of critical importance to share tonight.
Okay, great. We will. I'm sure the chief will do a fulsome review update at the next board meeting. Perfect. Equity, diversity, inclusion, engagement update. I don't believe there's anything update. This is an ongoing and a very important topic for the board, but I don't believe tonight that we have any update that I'm aware of. Am I correct?
The chief usually updates
The chief's update, okay, so Chief Maddock is going to have a few items to get us up to speed on in the days ahead. The next item is under a new business, participation of a non-committee members at committee meetings. We've had I'll just set the stage of what this is. It's not a complicated matter. Given the size of our board, small, we have 3 committees as I've duly noted earlier in my comments. We have conflicting language in our board manual right now, and what happens is that board members are members of at least 2 committees, and 2 out of the 3 committees. And we've had some mixed practices of whether or not those board members who are not appointed to committee, what their role or participation level can be at another committee level. There's kind of 2 options, is that you don't participate or you do participate. And unfortunately, our language in our board manual, due to some changes over the years, is conflicting. So what we're trying to do here is the board is aware of this. We've had some conversations kind of offline and at committee level. The discussion is should board members who are not appointed to committee, if they do attend a meeting as an observer, would they have voice or not? And there was some discussion on that, and certainly my viewpoint is that given that half the board is less than 6 months old, there may be some merit in having committee members who want to sit on another committee member to have some input, not vote, but input on those discussions. So there was some proposed wording on this. I think, was that circulated, Colin?
No, it was just up for discussion.
It's just for discussion. So I'm wondering where the board is. This is kind of an open discussion. There's what I'm trying to gain here under this topic is trying to clarify that policy manual. What is the board's wishes on this matter? Do you want to have it that if you're not appointed to committee, you can't attend and you have no voice, or would you like to be able to have voice at those meetings? And it's just a matter of if we get an indication from the board, we will update our board manual accordingly. I recognize Charlotte.
Thank you. And I know in the past in committees that whether you were a member or not of the committee, that there was conversation, and part of the reasoning behind making these changes is to create more dialogue in these public sessions. So as a committee member, I do appreciate being able to talk, and as a non-committee member, I like to share my thoughts. But I feel that the reasoning for this was determined to create more conversation in the public sessions. And so for that situation, I think we should leave our trust in our peers and the committees, and then be able to have more of a wholesome discussion here in a public session.
Okay. Michaela.
I wasn't aware that was a reason that we were looking at changing things. I definitely think that's valuable. I won't attribute this to anybody because I can't remember who brought this up, but it was in one of the discussions that we've had about non-committee member participation. And it was questioning how it would impact deferring decisions and motions if people didn't get to ask a question that they had to at the time of committees. And then we have to wait all the way till we get to a board before that they can ask a question that there might not be the answer available to them. So I don't know if we can make a distinction between asking questions and participating, but I do understand that might slow us down a lot if somebody has a requirement for information to be able to make an informed decision, and that can't be made available to them.
Okay. Tim, do you have any? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I've been new to the board and also the committees. I'm currently the chair of the HR committee, and I will always welcome the voice of other board members in that discussion. I do value that that should also be brought to the public agenda. So I hope there's a way, I'm sure there's a way that we can balance that need for robust conversation at the committee level. At the committees, we recommend to the board, so there's always that space to add to discussions.
Okay, Sean, I was wondering if you have, as one of our seasoned committee board members, do you have any thoughts on this? I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, but you may not, but you're past chair of the governance committee on this matter.
No, actually, I don't have any comments, and I support what Charlotte said.
Okay, so I'm not sure where we're going to go on this. There's no motion on before us. There seems to be some mixed direction on this matter. I'm wondering, what I suggest is that this get referred back to a governance committee for a specific motion, either one way or the other, and bring that back in a full motion. So there's basically two options. You either can attend. If you're not appointed to a committee, you can attend. One option is you can attend and have a voice and no vote. Or the second option is you don't attend and you simply address those matters at a board meeting. And I think there's good arguments for both. But so if I may, in order to just move this along, I'm going to ask that this get referred back to the governance committee for a clear direction, for a clear motion to bring back at a subsequent meeting. But we need to fix this provision in the board manual. Somebody prepared to move that motion of referral? Thank you, Tim. Is there seconded by Michaela? Okay. On that motion, then, all those in favor of referring this back to the governance to come up with a revised motion? Okay, down, opposed, carries. Perfect. Thanks for that. It was good to hear where the board's thinking was on this motion. It's clearly two-sided, but we'll figure it out and make a decision at a later date. Finally, under correspondence, the board received, and it is online for the public to receive, a letter that was addressed to Mayor Desjardins, dated July 19th, 2023, from Minister Mike Farnworth, the Minister of Public Safety and the Solicitor General and Deputy Premier. This was a letter that I'm not going to completely read, but the effect, the intent of this letter was dealing with the decision that he made in his capacity as minister pertaining to the decision in Surrey, British Columbia, regarding the issue of whether or not the Surrey Police Service, the SPS, or the RCMP model carries on. And while I can't comment directly on the intent, the letter is pretty clear lays out the rationale of Minister Farnworth's thinking in regards to his decision based on under the Police Act. And I think that's the most important thing that I certainly want to put forward is that this decision that was made was made under the section of the Police Act. And that's why we're here today, is we're governed by the same Police Act. So I just wanted to draw that attention to the members of the public and to the board that if you haven't had an opportunity to read that letter, it is a good letter and lays out a factual case for the decision that was made by the BC government pertaining to Surrey. And so that was a kind of an FYI. Failing that, I don't see any other new business. We've been very timely here tonight, so I will certainly take a motion to adjourn.